Nintopic Podcast, all things Nintendo. Yeah!
That was weird, but
There we go.
welcome to the Nintopic Podcast. We are live. We are here. For those of you who are listening to it, the podcast on Apple Music or Spotify or podcast thingy. We're not live there, but we're live here on YouTube. So you can catch us here every Friday. Here live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And we're using a new platform, guys. It's called, temporary platform, because I'm trying it out for today. It's called Restream. It has really cool features here and there. One of them is how you saw the little music background and everything. I did it myself, the actual countdown, but it gives me more freedom to kind of separate each link, like the intro from the actual podcast intro, and then this and that. So we'll try it out to see how it works. So far, so good. Thank you so much for being here. You guys look amazing in the chat. I see you guys all dressed up. You didn't have to. Just sit back, relax, and just have your tea, your dinner, your snack, whatever it is. Enjoy, and I hope you enjoy the podcast today. I want to introduce straight from Miyamoto's backyard. I think he was doing his lawn. Paul Gill. Oh no, you got dust in you, Paul. Were you?
You using that master sword to cut all those weeds. Well, not weeds. There's no weeds in Hyrule, just grass.
I mean, I'm guessing the pollen is at a high level over there, right?
Yeah.
So how are you doing today, man?
Good.
Still
doing a lot of talking this week, a lot of yelling across the field, so my
man.
voice is a little bit scratchy. But yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a good week.
That's awesome. Anything interesting happened to you today?
Today, nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, just had a good couple of classes. Today's classes weren't martial arts ones. I just had a running conditioning class and a fitness walking class. But one of the activities that we did outside was as a game that I made up called Matador Ball and Capture the Matador. So it's exclusive to CSUN. I mean, anyone could actually play it, but my university's mascot is the Matador, so that's why that's the name of the game. But a couple of very running intensive games, but they have like an element of capture the flag, soccer, freeze tag in there. So there's a bunch of 20-something-year-olds that probably weren't expecting to get that out of a fitness class, just running laps, and instead actually having a fun, engaging game. So that was my day. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, what do you call it again?
One of them is Capture the Matador, and one of them is Matador Ball.
That's good. That's good. I mean, you never know. You never know. You can record it one day and go viral. I mean, look what happened to this drink they made up here. I think it was at UCF, University of Central Florida, where the Gators play. Mm-hmm. Some guy made up a drink, and it all of a sudden became Gatorade. So it's out there. Starting with something somebody made for everybody else, and it just went off. So you never know what can happen with those games that you make up there to have fun and get fit at the same time, right? You never know.
Very true. How's your day going?
Going good. I mean, playing. What did I play? I'm still going slowly through Final Fantasy Remake.
Same here. By the way. Oh, Rebirth on this end though.
Rebirth. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Rebirth, not Remake. I can just call it Rebirth for some reason.
You did Remake already?
Yeah, I
did.
Doing
Rebirth.
I'm doing Rebirth now. I just got out of the. I'm not gonna see too much of a town. I'm just entering the big field, So you've already passed that part, right?
Yeah, but not too far past that, because I stopped playing for a little while. And then I've been kind of slow going back in, but yeah. Yeah,
so I'm entering that field now, and I'm excited because I'm the kind of person who, when I see an opportunity to train, I train. I love to train. I really love to level up my players like crazy. So when I get to the other, before I get to the other boss, my players are too, up more than they need to be, so that the rest of the game becomes just a breeze. So I'm there now. I'm excited to start leveling up my players in the field and just exploring to see what we see. But that's where I'm at there. I got my Wii U set up. I started playing Wind Waker, but the chat and the crew decided, oh, we want you to stream Wind Waker on our live streams. So I stopped playing Wind Waker. I'm gonna start over again and then start playing it on streams here on the channel for the very first time. So I've never played Wind Waker. It's good because I only had three stars. I mean 3 hearts, so I didn't get too far in. Mm-hmm. I think I got to the no, where did I get to? I got to the point where there's like a big bird going crazy at the top of the mountain. That's where I left off. So it's not too much that I have to redo again. But that's where I'm at. I'm so excited to play Wind Waker. You know, I'm not gonna wait for Nintendo to release it anymore. I'm like, I have it there in HD with the Wii U. Let me just play it, right? And so I'm about to play that for real soon. And that's about it. That's everything that's happening right now.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah. I'm on this homer by Joycey. Joycey's in the chat. Shout out to Joycey J. Get well soon. Hopefully you're back with us next podcast. But yeah, homer by Joycey to play more Zelda games, right, Joycey? And so I chose Wind Waker, and then I'm going back to the one on Switch already, which is what's that one on Switch? A Skyward Sword. Yes, I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna go back to Skyward Sword. I started playing Skyward Sword when it came out on Switch. I just ended up finishing it, so I'm about to start over on the beginning and then pass it again. Yeah,
Skyward Sword's really good in my opinion. I'd say the second half of the game is better than the first.
Yeah,
but the last third of the game is like perfect.
Okay,
so it gets better as that one goes on. So overall, it's still a very solid Zelda title, but for some it might take a little bit longer than others to get into it. But others might love it from the beginning.
That game was originally released on the Nintendo Wii, right?
Wii.
Yeah.
It came out late in the life on Wii, and I remember the reception of it. A lot of people were looking forward to.
Yeah.
Of course, a new Zelda game.
Yeah.
But it came out in November 2011, and by that time, you know, not that Wii was an underpowered system, but well, it was in comparison to like PS3 and Xbox 360. Yeah. And it was also 5 years into that console generation. So here you're anticipating Wii U, and you already saw what Wii U could do. And that was a weird thing. It was at E3 2011. They showed that beautiful Zelda tech demo.
Yeah.
In June of 11. So here you're getting a glimpse of what the future looks like.
Yeah.
But coming out in 5 months is Skyward Sword,
which is underpowered to what they compared to what they showed.
Oh my gosh, it was. Now it ended up being really quite a solid game in the end, but it took a little bit of luster out of the excitement for the game because people were already seeing what's next. And then nowadays, though, when you go back and play it with the understanding of like, all right, this is kind of like going back and playing Xenoblade Chronicles 1 remastered on Nintendo Switch, you know what you're getting. It's a Wii game from that era, just touched up. But anyways,
that makes sense. That makes sense, and I think we're gonna touch up on that a little bit because we're on today's. Well, first we're gonna go over the IndieWorld showcase, right? And I want to know what you thought about the IndieWorld showcase, the games that showed there. And then we'll go into the second topic today is, of course, the second half of 2022. This could be whatever happens next for Nintendo Switch 2, or maybe more games coming for Nintendo Switch itself. There's a lot that happened over the past, I would say 2 weeks, right? To a point where the leaker that mentioned about the Switch 2 delay kind of got a little discredited, right? And so it kind of begs the question, okay, so does that mean that the actual entire Switch 2 delay fiasco thing is just, should we throw it out? What's going on? Was it a plant by Nintendo to see who was leaking and then eventually catch them? You know, it wasn't, you know, things can happen. I've seen that happen before. Like I mentioned before, I worked for Apple for 10 years. 10 years. I keep saying 10 years. I stopped saying 10 years, but it's actually 15. And I stopped working with Apple recently, so I now can kind of speak a little bit openly about what I did and what I used to work for the App Store behind the scenes, so I know everything that happened there, all the releases, dates of releases, what games were coming, whatever. I was maintaining the App Store, and so I know that Apple at one point in time they did put plant fake leaks out there just to catch leakers red-handed. They did catch one. He lost his job, plus he went to jail. So, he signed a confidentiality NDA. You broke it. It was a massive thing, and so I know for a fact that companies can do that. We don't know whether this was the case, but with Nintendo, Nintendo. I know they hate leaks. They want to stop them in some sort of way. And I hate leaks too. I don't like leaks. I love that surprise factor. That awe and surprise you feel when you see that game for the first time, or you hear about this the system or whatever Nintendo does that we don't know about, that it surprises with. It's just a good feeling, right? Oh, there's a Nintendo Direct coming. Awesome. It feels like Christmas morning once we get there. But knowing beforehand and then getting the games leaked, it's not a good thing. And sometimes that's why I don't cover all the leaks. I say, okay, there's a Nintendo Direct coming. I don't want to know anything else. I want to know. I'll know the day of. So before that, IndieWorld Showcase. What are your thoughts?
I think I liked it a lot more than most.
Yeah.
Because as I was going on, Twitter later on and talking with different content creators and just seeing messages in different forums and stuff like that, I see more people than not thinking like, "Oh, that wasn't good. That was for me. That was a C. That was a D." I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we watched different shows, because if I'm not mistaken, they started off with Little Kitty Big City. And someone who, in general, I like cats. I mean, I like cats and dogs, but I like cats quite a bit. That gave me a good vibe, and it made me feel a little bit like Untitled Goose Game. An Untitled Goose Game, if you haven't played it, is a really fun, cute game with a nice little art style. It has cooperative fun, and this just gave those kind of vibes. We saw Stitch, and Stitch had me a little bit puzzled at first with what type of game it was, and then it got progressively better, and I was like, oh, maybe it's also because of the audience. Like, would I have bought that normally for myself? Possibly. But I was looking at the math benefits of, I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, and that's a math puzzle game. You're making 3x3 grids to create 9. You're making 2x3 grids to create 6. Things can't interfere with one another. So it's colors and it's math and it's a puzzle game, and I like puzzle. I love Tetris. That was good. Anton Blast. I'm just running off the top of my head. That I saw and I was like, that reminds me of the Wario Land games and Wario on Wii. I forgot the particular subtitle for the Wario game on Wii, but that art style, that kind of craziness, that fast energy, running and smashing through things. Anton Blast looked good. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. I love TMNT. You can see my Michelangelo statue somewhere over on this side. Like, being a big Ninja Turtle fan and being an old school kid from 80s and 90s, I like that. Europa. I saw that game and I was like, this is someone else's take on a young adventure in a big world in a nice art style that's Zelda-like, who is kind of like Link, but not, obviously, and has the ability to fly and soar and glide. And then there was like Cat Quest 3, that title from Way Forward. There was that game Bzzzt, that looked kind of fun.
Right.
And then there was like that little sizzle reel. No Hollow Knight Silk Song. And I was kind of laughing because as I was recording my own reaction video to that, I was like, geez, almost every other IndieWorld Showcase or Nintendo Direct, the consensus is, it's going to be at this one, or nah, it's not going to be at this one.
Right.
And you're either right or wrong on every other one, but it not being there didn't bother me because I just listed off like half a dozen games. I bought Stitch, by the way. And I've liked it so far, and my kids have liked it so far. And I downloaded that, was it like Cat Quest 3 demo?
Yes.
I downloaded that demo. I pre-ordered Little Kitty Big City, and there you go. That is one reason why Nintendo doesn't need to showcase necessarily their big games yet, because now that they're having a little bit of a lull, now that they're putting more resources into big development on Nintendo Switch 2, let the indies shine. Let the third parties shine. because sometimes they could get overlooked by the big Nintendo software that's so attractive that everyone's going to buy Mario. But if you're this third-party company that's trying to release this, your game is not going to sell well against Mario. So now's the time for like indies and third parties to do a little bit better, because there are fewer, big AAA Nintendo titles coming out. And that was a long speech, but
I agree though.
I thought the IndieWorld presentation was great, like a very solid B+ in my opinion.
Yeah.
I want to hear what you thought, because, and maybe you agree, maybe not, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean,
I need some help on my side of people who actually liked it.
Listen, I have to agree, and I also gave it a really strong B, really strong B+. I actually gave it an A at Nate's podcast, just because everybody gave it a C. I'm like, no, I gotta bring this up because I actually loved it. I'm gonna bring it up to an A, but this podcast, because to match, we both liked it. I think we both loved it the same. I went ahead. I was impressed because I think this was one of the best IndieWorld showcases I've seen in a long time, and I think every game was a home run. That game Stitch, man, what a nice game. What is like nice peaceful game to play, like a little puzzle kind of like coloring, kind of like sewing game that kind of it just feels nice, right? The one that blew me away was Europa. Okay?
Yeah.
I downloaded the demo for Europa. I played it. I was like, man, I was blown away by the game. It just felt so great. It's an open world, guys. It is an open world, or open, I would say open area, but the world is so big. I mean, every game is like open area, but it is an open world game. The one thing about the game, of course, that I mentioned before is that the clip, the scenes, like the cinematic scenes where they show the character up front, that was a little wonky, right, in animation kind of way. But when you go into the actual game, into the actual engine, beautiful, amazing. Like the background music is flawless. It's just so beautiful and peaceful and nice. And then the actual world is beautiful. I put on Twitter, on X, my little short review what I think the game was about of that short demo. I'm in line to get a review code. I do want to review that game on the channel. That game was amazing. I think that I want to push it. I think that was one of the highlights of the entire showcase. But man, you have Ninja Turtles there. I know that game was also in Apple TV and it was on mobile, but it came to the Switch. It looks really awesome. People are comparing it to Hades, and that's a really good thing. That's a good thing because
Hades, I love Hades.
Yeah. It's a really good comparison, and the game feels and plays phenomenal, right? I played it on the Apple TV and I loved it, so I can't wait to play it on my Switch. What other games that I'm forgetting about a couple of them, but the Little Cat Big City game.
Yeah, man,
I want to hop on that game as soon as it comes out. I loved it. I'm like, hey, we finally have our own Stray, yeah, in our own version of Stray. But it's cool because you get to dress up the cat and different little things there. Just overall fun game. But I really do think that this indie showcase was one of the strongest ones, and I agree there are some games there that could actually ease the community, right? They, yes, no Hollow Knight Silksong, but I am of the opinion that Hollow Knight Silksong has kind of overgrown the indie showcase, and now it's kind of more into the partner or Nintendo Direct kind of level of game, and so that's why they're not showing it. Or something that was mentioned over at the Prime Podcast is that maybe we know that it's coming to Game Pass, and so maybe there's a contract before the game is announced that Xbox needs to kind of show that game and announce it on their end first. Is going to Game Pass, and then every other developer can announce it, or every other platform can announce it for their system as well after that, right? Or it's just waiting to be announced on a bigger stage, which is the hopefully a Nintendo Direct moving forward, if we do have one. But I did not miss Hollow Knight Silksong with that lineup that they give us. They did give us, and I appreciate the effort that indie developers are putting into their games now. They're just pushing the envelope, and it makes me more excited for indie games, right?
Yeah.
If you guys didn't know, Paul and I are working on this event later this year. It's called Indie Mania, the showcase of games by indie developers. We have developers like Way Forward Games, Pick Me Games. They're all participating, and it's going to be a fantastic event. That's why I'm like more excited than ever for indie games, and this was like one of the best IndieWorld showcases that I've seen in a while, and I'm happy. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. So we're sharing an opinion when it comes to the IndieWorld showcase.
That's good.
It's awesome. Yeah.
You know, I think. Excuse me. I think people shouldn't sleep on indie games.
Yeah.
Now, it could be difficult to find the right one because, I mean, there are hundreds. And if you go through like an eShop or, Xbox or PlayStation Marketplace, you can find thousands. So there's a lot, but there are quite some solid ones. And after a while, you start to find the companies that you recognize, and they're making games that are similar to each other, like they get into this genre, or they just have a certain quality to them. Sometimes there's that diamond in the rough, but you begin to see like indie games, it's the individual creativity of these creators, not held back by a publisher wanting them to do this. Exactly. It might take longer for their game to come out. It might not be as grand in scope as it could have been with a big budget and more voice acting and higher resolution textures and stuff like that. But overall, it's very creative. And in some ways, they're trying to emulate in the most beautiful way possible Nintendo. Because a lot of these people, whether they're in their early 20s to 40s, they probably grew up a Nintendo fan. They probably grew up playing Mega Man and Capcom games and Konami games from back in the day, and like they fell in love with gaming and they wanted to bring that passion. So kind of what made us Zelda fans, well, that's the team behind Europa that was inspired by that, and they want to have their own kind of take. So if you like Animal Crossing, you could probably find elements of what makes you like Animal Crossing, and then the characters and the customization and the emotes and blah 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 in Little Kitty Big City.
Yeah.
Now, they're different games, but if you could kind of say, well, step aside, and if Nintendo came up with this new franchise or this new game called Little Kitty Big City, would you like it more just because it's Nintendo and it's another Nintendo IP? So,
that's a big point. That's a big point.
Go step away from the fact that it's not just made by Nintendo, but it's made by someone who has that passion, who, like us in the audience, in the chat, loves Nintendo and wants to live up to that type of development, and that's the passion behind many of these titles. And it's a little bit of a biased take, but it is true, because Nintendo, they pick who gets to be in an IndieWorld showcase. If they allowed these games to be in it, it obviously meets some type of caliber of quality in their eyes. So they're almost vouching for them. So that should also tell you something like, oh, wait a minute. It's not one of the thousands, no disrespect to them, but it's a little bit different, paying $20 for a clock app than a game highlighted here. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's I think it was, I'm really excited because I'm putting the IndieWorld here so that you guys can see it while we talk about it. But even the logo from the IndieWorld, look, it's brand new logo. It looks like it's a brand new era for Nintendo, because even the Nintendo Direct logo, when the partner showcase started, it was brand new as well. It has brand new graphics, brand new animations, brand new theme song and everything. And then I just wanted to open this really quick because I wanted to go over, like, for example, we have here the presentation for the Little Cat Big City. I mean, look at the. I mean, it looks fun. It looks very fun. It's like a little city here. We have a cat kind of going through the motions, just falling through into a trash can, right? And then just going on its way. I'm pretty sure there are things you have to do. I guess he's doing something there, right? For those of you who are listening on the podcast, we are kind of watching the presentation here and going over the motions of what's happening. Like right now, we're watching at Little Kitty Big City. The other game that they presented after that one was this one right here. Actually, I was surprised by. It gave me like Mega Man vibes. Wars
Rising.
Yeah, Wars Rising. Metroidvania Mega Man type of game. Really, really cool game. With this nice female character shooting everything. I like to shoot stuff, you know. So yeah, it gives you like it's a Metrovania game, right? With puzzles, you kind of advance levels, and I'm guessing you kind of upgrade your weapons as you go. But it's a really cool game, and I think that I think I've already heard of a lot of people who either pre-ordered this game or tried it. I'm sure they have a demo, but this one right here, what is it called again? Let's see if we can. It's called personality. It's a personality test, but it's called. Let's see here, refined self. Refined self. This one right here caught my attention. It's a beautifully crafted game right there. It's an 8-bit game, right? But the idea behind the game is this little robot, right, that loses its master. Master passed away, but the robot is unfinished. So they have to. The robot itself leaves and goes into the world, and according to what choices you make, it builds up to an end character, right? It gives you a certain personality. Right here, we have different personalities, which you can end up being at the end, like a leader, a butler, a traveler, an artisan, a researcher, adventurer, a sage, a crown, a hero, gambler, merchant, or collector. This right here, man, the creativity that went into this game, like, even a judge you can become at the end, and a martial artist too. So, according to the choices you make throughout the game, it leads you to becoming one of these personalities, which is really cool. Not only it's a cool game to not only kind of have fun, you know, like a nice, I'll call it like a nice Zen kind of game that kind of makes you think, but it also helps you discover a little bit about yourself. So it's a personality test game. So it's like, what kind of choices would you make in real life, right? And so at the end, it rewards you. But hey, then you're this type of person. You could be a judge, you could be a martial artist, you could be this and that, right? And so I love the creativity that indie developers are putting into these games and bringing them out. That's one of the things that I love the most about this particular indie world. The creativity that went to these games is farther than I've seen it go before. This is a sticker game here. If you like sticker games, what else we have here? We got this
is that one I was talking about.
Yeah.
This surprised me. I was like, Tasmanian Devil meets
Yeah.
Wario, kind of, and it's kind of crazy, kind of fast.
Yeah. I mean, if you like destroying stuff, you love action, you just like side scrolling games like that. This is the game for you. I mean, it looks fun. It looks very fun. Let's see here. Let's move forward here.
And if this was a new Wario game,
Uh-huh.
would more people be like, "Oh my gosh, yes, we got our next Wario! I can't wait!" Oh, like, but is the hype just different because it's not Wario?
Yeah.
I think that's some of the people's issues. Maybe is that it's just not the bigger IP, but you got to give it a chance. It's still a fun game to play. It's something new. You know, if Nintendo made Splatoon Mario Ink Battle, then you would have never had the Squidlings. You would never had the kids and squids and the Octolings and all that stuff. So like, even Nintendo had to branch out and say, hey, we could have made it Mario Paint Wars or Ink Wars, but they made it something new. And that's what a lot of indie things are.
I agree. I think I used to be like that. To be honest, I'm confessing it. I used to be like that. Mario wasn't in the picture, or Zelda, or something that I know I wasn't too interested. And I've slowly been changing and kind of opening up to other games. And I think that when you do that, guys, it just becomes a better world because you have more to play, more to experience, more to to have fun with, right? And you're not closed up to just a single type of character or story. This is another one. I think you become a frog in this world, and then it's a cozy game too, where you do puzzles and chores and stuff. I think as a frog to help something. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, this one was one that a lot of people in the chat enjoyed. The art style is beautiful too, and that's the thing about IndieWorld. Like Paul was saying, they're not tied to any publisher trying to rush them to make a game, and they have the more freedom to experiment with art styles, and that's why in IndieWorld you see all these different types of games, and they don't look the same. Each game looks very different from each other, and I think that's really good because it's a different type of expression game, right? Here, this is another horror. I'm gonna pass this. It's too scary for me. And then here we have this other game. This is Europa. Let's see here. I think somebody just hopped in. Let's see here. Who we have here? We have Zach joining us in. Welcome, Zach.
Hey, Zach.
Can you hear us, Mr. Hendricks?
Check test 1 2 1 2.
There we go.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Sweet. Yeah, I was just about to try and get into Discord and message you. This worked out perfectly.
Perfect. So right now, just to let you know, Zach, we're basically going over the IndieWorld showcase, kind of going over the games and giving our opinions. Both Paul and I thought this was one of the best IndieWorlds we have seen in a while. We gave it a high B plus when it comes to game creativity and stuff. And so, did you watch the IndieWorld showcase?
I have not had a chance to watch the IndieWorld. This has been the busiest week of my life.
Oh man. But so we had a really good selection of games this time around, and really good combinations. Literally games that could pop, like Paul was saying. These games, if you put Mario in them, I'm pretty sure they will sell more and be more productive. But it's of that caliber of games, right?
Okay.
Without that main character that we're all used to. But these games are all we have Ninja Turtles, Splintered Fate. This game was before on iOS. I think Android. No, it was on Apple TV and iOS, and now it's making it to iPhone I know it's on PlayStation also, and also on Xbox, and also on Switch. So this game is coming out to all platforms. It's kind of like a Hades type of game, but with the turtles, which is really cool.
Okay, I always am down for the turtles. You can never have too much Ninja Turtles.
I always find it it's a little funny though, to be honest, when I see Ninja Turtles as an indie game, even like Shredder's Revenge. I mean, this is a mega blockbuster IP.
Yeah.
But it's made by a smaller team. So is it indie? Well, yes, in the sense of who made it, but it's a big player as far as a franchise goes.
I mean, yeah, if the Turtles are worldwide, no, they're done by an indie company, maybe, right? A developer. But
yeah, that's what's making it an indie game. It's like Cadence of Hyrule. It used The Legend of Zelda. You can't get much bigger than that, but it was made by a smaller team, thus being an indie game.
Yeah. And I like it because it spices up IndieWorld Showcase as well. You see, wait a minute, this game is indie, but it surprises you. Yes, it was made by an indie developer company, which it just tells you how truly talented these indie developers really are. They are trusted with these big IPs to do these games. This one's coming in July, so then it'll be out pretty soon. Let's see.
That's so cool too, to be an indie company, but you're working with a not indie property.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would be excited, super excited, having a little company and all of a sudden they put this big IP in your hands and trust you with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, and right now we have the cat the one that Paul was talking about, the Cat 3, something like that. Adventure Cat 3?
Cat Quest 3?
Yeah, Cat Adventure Mystery something. It looks great. It looks great. It looks really good. Look, they're fighting during a concert. That's hilarious. Let's see here. And then we have, let me continue. We're almost done here with this. The cat game. We got what game is this?
This was Stitch.
Yeah, this is Stitch. Yeah. See this game right here. I know what's the game they're actually playing here.
So this is Stitch. This is that math-based puzzle game.
But then I know this game has an actual name. They just kind of made it into this Stitch game, which is really clever. But I can't remember the name of it. I know they mentioned it during the indie showcase.
What is this known as?
Yeah, I know.
Goku or of
something else. Something different. It has a name, but yeah. I thought it was super clever to use that game here, and I'm pretty sure it's super relaxing just to play that game. Did you play it, Paul?
Yeah, and I first picked the easy thing, and my kids on their file were like, "Oh, try this one next," and my math is up to snuff where it should be, and then they say pick this hard one, and I was like, "Oh man," they were laughing because it looked like Zach got pulled over for a bit, but it's just lights in the background. But that was funny. I hope that doesn't happen, by the way. But just
yeah.
But I picked a harder level, and they were just laughing at my struggle because I was getting a little bit stumped. And it's not that you can't figure out that like, oh, 6 is 2 times 3, but it's in which direction does it go? Does the 6 go down here? Oh, you might think it does, but then it interferes with this because they can't intersect. And then just getting everything right, it's a little bit relaxing and also a brain booster at the same time. And I liked it. I love it for what it's worth. It's not the typical action game that I like, or platformer or story-based game, but games are awesome, and that's because there's such a variety. Maybe if you only like the third person behind the back story-driven heavy narrative shooter or that kind of thing, then gaming is kind of limited, and that's okay too. I know people that only buy each next generation platform for the for the Madden experience, or for the hockey experience, or for the FIFA experience, football, baseball, basketball. As their sports machine. That's cool. But kind of like you said earlier, if you brought in I think you said something along this line, if you brought in your horizons to liking different IP or liking different genres, then there's a lot of type of fun games out there that you can keep busy with.
This is another Crab's Treasure. This was mentioned before, but finally we have a
We've seen that one a few times now. But that's cool.
But did it have already a release date? Is it out yet? Another Crab's Treasure?
I don't think it's out yet, but
that's a good one that we're looking forward to. And then we have I think this is where we have SteamWorld, the last game, Heist 2, which is the last game that they mentioned in the indie showcase. I know around here there's a little there you go. There's a business game. Have here, let's see here, and that's it. Yeah, we have the SteamWorld 2 game that was announced. This was what ended the showcase, and so at this point, people were expecting us to hear about this other game, right? What was the game? I completely forgot. I'm having a brain moment right now. Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Oh yeah.
And so
one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing. Hollow Knight Silk Song, but it never made it. But I mean, again, it was still. I mean, if they were announced Hollow Knight Silk Song and they would have put this game at the beginning, like I think it was Nate who said that. Can't remember who said that. But then people would have thought differently of this game, because this game is a really good game. And a lot of people love this game as well. But overall, I think it was a solid presentation with a solid lineup, and I really did enjoy it. I was surprised, and it was the first time in a while that I left an IndieWorld showcase kind of feeling this happy about trying new games, and it's pretty cool. So there you have it, guys. Leave in the comments what do you guys think about this IndieWorld showcase. Give it a grade from A to D. Don't go to F. Let's just give it A to C. Keep it positive. But all right, with the IndieWorld showcase out of the way, right? It begs the question, now that the IndieWorld showcase is here and gone, we have more games on the eShop, which is a positive thing, right? We have more games to look forward to, some to pre-order, some to play right now. I mean, I really recommend playing that demo of Europa. You will really you will be looking forward to the actual release when you play that demo. It's really cool. It's about a story about a young lad. I would say that he was brought to this new world from Earth to Europa, right? Earth, I guess it's bad. Can't even breathe the air in Earth. So they found this new planet. And so not gonna tell you a lot. It's an adventure game where you follow your dad's voice and try to find little pages here and there to kind of guide you towards something more. The actual demo didn't really say much of the story, but it gave you enough to kind of want to know more. And I think that's what the demo should do. And look forward to that game. There's a lot of other games with demos. Like right now, if you go to the eShop and you look at the front page, there's a section where it says games with demos. Nintendo listed all those games that they announced that currently have demos and you should try them out, which is a way of kind of trying out a game without having to buy it. That way you know whether you like it or not, and you want to go ahead and purchase it. So yeah. Let's go ahead and move over to the next topic of today, which is, let me go ahead and get that little this thing that we have here, because I know we're using a new thingy here, so I can actually have the title here. And let me go ahead and stop sharing here. Stop sharing here. And where are we? Where did we go?
Hey, it's a me.
There we go. There we go. Okay, there we go. We got that too. We got this one too. I want to keep it there. Keep it there.
Hey, look at that. Look at that. There we go.
So, all right. This is the question. It's a big question because, I mean, there's a lot that's been happening. All right. Before we get into this, there's something on Twitter, on Twix, that I want to go ahead and completely, what do you call that? Shut down before it gets out of control. Okay. Something that I want to shut down before it gets out of control. There is a design out there and a logo and some games. You know what? I think you guys are gonna want to see it. I'll get it for you and I'll share my screen. That way you guys can actually see it instead of kind of just hearing about it. Because if I show you, it paints a picture for you. So let me go ahead and open it right here. All right, I got it right there. And all I need to do is just share my screen, share my window, and there we got it. Okay, share that. And let me know if you guys can see it there. I'm gonna go ahead and right here, this tweet right here. Can you guys see it and read it? All right, so
I can't read it, but that logo,
yeah,
no way, that is not real.
So this is going around. I mean, right now, I just kind of shared it. And I put like, yeah, great graphic design work, but nope. But it's actually already, people are starting to retweet it. But Nintendo's next system will officially be called Nintendo Nova. I will share more information in the future, so stay tuned. I will also answer any questions you may have. The system will launch in spring 2025. Obviously, we already know that. So you're kind of like shooting a dart into a big giant bullseye, with the bullseye as big as that the little corner, right? It's like the entire wall. For a price of $429.99. This is a guess, of course, and we all expected Nintendo Switch 2 to go up in price at least $100. And then nice little graphic design logo here, Nintendo Nova.
That's what gave it away. Nintendo is not self-referential. Yeah.
Nintendo Nova with all these little tiers, whatever here. And then we have, I have to admit, this one looks nice. I know it's made up, but it looks like it's a nice little logo. Cuphead flashback, right? And then we also have what apparently is the Nintendo Switch 2 interface. Yeah, he's a good graphic designer. I'm not gonna take that away from them. But it looks like they are looking for work. They can't find any work, and they're just feeling bored. And they created this Nintendo Nova. Now, let me tell you what Nova means in Spanish. No go. That's what it means. It means in Spanish, Nova, no go, not going. Not so. So that's exactly what I think. Just to put that out there, now that we are in the subject of Switch 2, this is not real. I think this is the same designer who made that Switch. What's the other one? Yeah, it is the same guy. Switch something. Future, not the future. Something in the chat. If you guys can remind me, what was the other name that was actually made the rounds because nobody stopped it in time? It was Switch something, and I can't remember what it was. But that
Switch it up.
No, that was
the switch it up.
Switch it up. It was Switch something. I can't remember. But yeah, this is not great. Not good. I'm not even gonna make a video of it because it's not real. Not real at all. Switch, no. But there you have it. I just wanted to go ahead and bring that up before we get into the main topic. Where are we? Okay, there we are. So the big question: Nintendo Direct or Switch 2? Now I'm gonna go ahead and present each, okay, and then I'll hand it over to you guys to get your opinions and your thoughts on it, okay? Now, Nintendo Direct, right? There could be a Nintendo Direct just because we already have a partner showcase. We've had an IndieWorld, and what Nintendo has 3 presentations a year, right? 3 kinds of presentations. They have the IndieWorld, they have the partner, and then we have the Direct/Direct Mini, right? Those 3, and then we have 2 directs, 3 directs a year, maybe 2 IndieWorlds, right? And then like 3 or 2 partner showcases a year. And so we've already had one of each. Now, common sense says that, okay, Nintendo might be getting ready to give us another Nintendo Direct, right? And so we might not get the one this month, but maybe next month, right before April 6th, or right after April 6th, which is their fiscal meeting, right? The meeting with the shareholders, where they are going to talk to their shareholders about what they have next and stuff. And so we know there's a meeting coming. They might have a presentation then, and then just like any presentation, they'll show third-party games and they'll show first-party games. I'm pretty sure like maybe 3 or 4 first-party games to kind of finish off the year. We only have July, August, September, and November left for Nintendo to kind of fill in with games, and then that will do it for this year, right? And then in September, we'll get hopefully another Direct that will kind of talk about what happens in the beginning of next year. That's the first little road. The second road tells us that if Nintendo decides to, let's say, not even release any more games for the rest of the year, there is another route they could take that they can go by, and that is by in this fiscal meeting, they could, because we are in the meeting they're having now, they could actually, for the very first time, admit it. Yes, we are working on a next-gen system. It is code name so and so. Just like Nintendo has released a code name for every console. I can't remember. Like, you know, they released a code name at least for the last 5 or 6 consoles. They have released a code name for each. I know Paul can remember each and one of them from back in the Nintendo 64 era. But they've had released a code name, and if they do give us a code name, that means that they are ready to show us a system. Okay, so I would say yes, a June Nintendo Switch reveal, an August or September Nintendo Switch kind of presentation, the big one, and then like a February release date. And so maybe at that point they just bring down the Switch price and they bundle everything up for the holidays, and they give us a whole bunch of bundles. And people will be confident to buy these bundles and these games because they would have confirmed Nintendo Switch backwards compatibility by then. So people would not feel too bad about continuing to purchase Switch games at that time. So those are the 2 things that I feel could happen. Now, I want to throw it out to you. Start with Paul. Paul, what do you think? These are the 2 routes. You're standing in a crossroad, Paul. You're looking both ways. Where do I go, this way or that way? There's Nintendo Direct this way. And what do you think could happen if Nintendo does decide to go left to Nintendo Direct or right to Switch 2 territory?
I'm still on the mindset that they don't need to do it. They don't need to talk about it yet. They don't want the Nintendo Switch era to fizzle out. They don't want to go off with, a dud and lose all momentum going into the next system. But I think they've got to be very careful about announcing it too early, and then, having this too big of a gap in between announcement and when it comes out to just take away all of the momentum. I mean, like, you could let the momentum dry by having it last too long and then release a new system, but then the ecosystem isn't there anymore and the Nintendo name isn't as powerful. Or you could announce it too early, make the momentum high for the next system, but kill the momentum of any sales from the current platform, and that's going to eat into your quarters. So I'm of the unpopular mindset probably of, announce the thing in February and have it come out in May. That's how long I could see them go before dropping that trailer. And that's not really like a popular mindset, but to kind of appease fans, I think something possible could be acknowledgement of, in May at an investor meeting, not showing it off, but something along the lines of Nintendo is also publicly acknowledging that we are in development of the successor to the Nintendo Switch, codenamed something, right? Whatever it is. Don't even give the full name yet.
Yep.
And that it will release before the end of, fiscal year 2025. So then that will tell people, okay, sometime before March 31st, 2026, they're going to get it. Now, people are going to be scared, like, wait a minute, that long? No, just before. Okay, so that way it's not going to be too big of news that it's going to rush out there in all of mainstream media, and then all of Nintendo Switch is going to stop selling suddenly because people are like, oh, it's coming out in 4 months. It's coming out in 3 months. I could hold on. But it's not going to be this lull of like, oh, 2026. It's just going to be the few million people that are going on Twitter and X and watching YouTube and stuff like that. They'll know that Nintendo said there is a new system in development and it will come out before the end of their next fiscal year. And that's enough. Now, we, the more hardcore Nintendo fans, will know what that means. Oh, before the end of next, probably between March and May of 2025. That's what all the rumors are leading to. But they could save themselves with giving themselves a little bit longer of a time frame, If they give you the time frame in June, then that could be too precise. And if it's too precise, it will limit who buys a Nintendo Switch, because you will have different mindsets of people that this news will get to saying, I could wait 6 months. I'm good. I won't buy a Nintendo Switch. I could wait 1 year. I'm good. You know what I mean? But if people have the presumption that it could be within 2 years, you know what? I'm just going to buy the platform now, the current system now. Not that Nintendo wants to trick their audience, because I think the worst thing you could do is, January 5th, announce that Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out and have it come out in February. Because then you make all of the Christmas shoppers and the holiday shoppers in December feel bad, like, I just bought this thing, and if I waited 3 weeks later, I would have found out about a new one, and if I waited 1 month later, I would have a new one. I mean, that goes with kind of any technology, but that's been the awesome thing of Nintendo Switch is you could have bought it at any time in the life cycle and had a great time. And you could buy one now, and you're still going to have a year of a great time. And honestly, who's to say you're not going to have a great time when the new system comes out? You still have those several years worth of games in your backlog. You may not have as vibrant of a community constantly talking about it, but you're still going to have a community that's still there, buying Mario Kart and buying Splatoon and playing these titles. So I know that's a long-winded approach to it, but the Nintendo fan in me, I'm dying to see the new system. I love Nintendo hardware. I mean, I have been following video game news or being a part of creating the news for forever. I mean, one obviously longer than the other, but I breathe, eat, and sleep video games, in particular Nintendo. There's nothing quite as exciting as new hardware. So trust me, I would be very happy if this June at Nintendo Direct 2, they just showed this thing off. They ended the presentation with, here is the next gen, and here is a sample of next gen gorgeous looking Mario, and here is Metroid Prime 4 running on both, but how much better it looks. But I just think it's unrealistic. It's too good, and also it wouldn't help their sales. So I'm on an unpopular side of people who probably think this way, is my guess, and I could be wrong, but I would think announce it in some capacity that it's coming within a fairly wide time frame, or maybe even if you called it 2025, that's fine, but I don't know if they would go that specific, and announce that in like May or June that it's coming in this time frame, but actually show it off in February, have it come out in May, a tight 3-month window. And yeah, I don't know, it's a really hard one to do, because I've gotten so used to covering Nintendo that before I could tell you, oh, about a year in advance. They're gonna talk about it, show it off, and then you're waiting for 14 months for this thing.
Yeah.
But they're not doing that this time. So I don't think they're gonna show, here's Nintendo Switch 2. It's coming out in 15 months. See you all then.
You know,
Because they've never had this strong of a system last this long. So it's a different Nintendo. This generation is ending so differently.
and one thing that I think that was mentioned also in the Prime podcast that caught my attention, and it was kind of true, is that Shintaro Furukawa has never introduced a new system before. So introducing a new system into like transition to a brand new system. He's a finance guy. He's not a creative. He cannot be in the right state. You know what? The opinion was that maybe he wasn't in the right state of mind to release the system. I disagree with that because he's a money guy, and I think that what he's done since he's taken the realms has been more than phenomenal. I think that's why we were at where we are at right now. He didn't introduce the system, or he didn't start working on it, but he drove the sales. He drove the ship. He guided the ship, of the Nintendo Switch era, to where we are now. And so the big question is because he mentioned that he doesn't want to fall off the cliff. As a money guy, that's something that's going to give you a heart attack. If you see that little dip happening, it'll give you a heart attack. I'm like, oh no, I need to do something beforehand in order to make sure that sales are steady. And the only way of me seeing maybe not, okay, there will always be a dip, no matter what. There will always be a dip between systems, and that's something we can't really stop, even if we can control how deep that dip in sales is. And I think if they, and this is my personal opinion, if they acknowledge the system and then they release it within a year, I think, because we only have one console instead of two, I think that the balloons are coming up. I think that could actually hurt sales, because there's just one system people are looking forward to. Instead of back in the day, there were two systems. Maybe some people got around. Okay, I have to wait for the next system, Nintendo system. Maybe I'll just get the handheld, play some games there while I wait till the next console come out. But this time, there's only one system. There's the handheld and the Switch. And so the question is, do you think that by even admitting that there's codename Nintendo system, as people are nowadays, right? And like how people are acting nowadays with this drought, I guess what they're calling it, is because Nintendo hasn't announced any games for the foreseeing future, which I think they will. We just have to wait. Do you think that'll help Nintendo, or it will cause some type of drought? Right now, I'm looking at the stocks, and ever since the Nintendo Switch rumor, I'm going to call it a rumor because that's not even confirmed by Nintendo. Nintendo was what confirmed it. That rumor that the system was pushed to 2025, that same exact week it started dipping, and I look back, and it's falling quite a bit. I think it's like $3 to $4 down from like 14, I think, down to 12 now, or 11. Last time I checked, it was 12. But it is dipping down when it comes to the stock market, and that's something shareholders don't want to see with their investments. And so, do you think that them announcing the system by the next fiscal year, which is not this fiscal year, its end is beginning in March of 2025 and ending in March of 2026, or April of 2025 and ending in March of 2026, people are not going to see it that way. People are going to look at and think the worst, like always. People are going to think 2026, what? By that time, the PS Pro would have been out, and the Xbox Pro, whatever, would have been out. And so this is me thinking like people think, and the gap is going to be like so far away, and this and that, and then third-party games that are coming out on PS5 and PS5 Pro, that Xbox Call of Duty game that's coming out, and then a lot of the games won't be able to play on Switch because I guess Switch is not powerful enough to handle it unless they build it from the ground up. You know, what do you think? What did that cause some the stocks to go down just a bit? That dip to happen even a little lower than it needs to be. Then Nintendo launching the system this fiscal year, ending in March of 2025. You know,
Well, there's launching it in that time and announcing when they're going to launch it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If they launch it sooner, they're going to get more money sooner. That's definitely the case, because there's nothing that would sell more than a brand new system and the associated software with that system to finish out a fiscal year. So that could be a good financial move for them, provided that it's ready to go to. Although Nintendo's, not that they don't care about the stocks. I mean, obviously you would like to see it as a company go up, but it's not their end all be all of concern. And they do have multiple avenues as well. And regardless of whether the stock is going up or down, their revenue stream is not ending. They're still getting money from the Mario film when it's being watched, or when people are subscribing a service, or the analytics are showing that this many people are watching it on this service, et cetera, et cetera. These many people are still buying the digital version. You know, the stock could go up or down, and that won't be reflective of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door selling a whopping 4 million copies in the first few weeks. That's not going to make the stock go up or down.
Yeah.
Yet that's going to net Nintendo a nice $240 million. You know what I mean? Rough, right? 4 million times 60, 240. You know, call it that. So, I don't know. And then we have like things like the Donkey Kong, park.
yeah.
That's going to be another revenue. And that's, by the way, we might touch on that later, but that's been delayed until later 2025, if I'm not mistaken. And that could be for a reason. I mean, probably it's just not ready yet, but that might line up better with a movie or a
the one in Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, it was delayed because they want to make sure that it opens all across the world at the same time. And I'm guessing that's around the time. Well, Donkey Kong, they said 2026, right? The movie that Nintendo's working on.
April 2026, a Nintendo movie within the Super Mario Bros. Universe, right?
Yeah, it's Donkey Kong. It's Donkey Kong. Yeah, Donkey Kong was in it. He's in the universe. And then when they're talking about within the Super Mario Bros. Movie universe, they're talking about the one that's already established. Mario movie, Donkey Kong is in that movie, and he's in the universe. And so if they do release the Donkey Kong movie, Mario could be in it as well as a side character. All the characters could be in there, but Donkey Kong is a lead at that point. And so I think it's like the Mario sequel. That's why they say Mario Universe, but they're continuing like with the Donkey Kong as the head of the. It's more back. We'll hear more about that hopefully soon. But,
by the way, there is a super chat from Rainbow Love.
Yeah.
He dropped a $2 donation saying, "We're concerned for Zach's safety."
Yeah.
Because he's driving, podcasting, playing Pokemon Go while doing this, using 2 knees on the wheel, 1 hand in a bag of chips, 1 hand on a water bottle, and and taking pictures all at the same time.
Hey guys, Zach's eyes is on the road.
My eyes are on the road.
He's safe.
However, what is funny, I couldn't find a mount for. I found a cup holder mount only.
Oh, that's
and
hilarious.
so that's not gonna work. But my phone charger is like freaking 10 feet long, so I just wrapped it around the mirror a bunch of times. So my
that's
phone
funny.
is
Wait, hold on.
tied up here.
Hey, can you see the mirror backwards, or is the phone covering it?
It's sticking off the side of the mirror. So
Okay.
If I need to use the mirror, I can see it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So guys, don't worry. Zach is driving safely. He's just here.
Oh, sorry.
So,
I was gonna say, I'll read the person in front of me's license plate if that wasn't doxing, but I think it might
Oh
be.
boy.
So I
Yeah.
won't. But eyes are on the road. We are good.
Yeah. People are like, oh no.
Eyes are on the road. Mind is on the Nintopics.
Yeah. People are like, hey, there's some sirens behind Zach. He's gonna pull over. That would be cool. That would boost ratings, Zach. So just
that would be awesome. Arrested on Live podcast.
Dang.
I would resist just
right
for
there.
you guys. Just for the views, Mike, I'd resist.
That'd be hilarious. You would resist.
Oh my gosh.
Cops
That's
arrest
hilarious.
guy shouting in Mario voice.
That's hilarious. So, Zach, what do you think? With your eyes on the road, we have two roads. By the way, thank you so much, Rainbow Love, for that super chat. We appreciate you. And Rainbow Chat, the super chat was to show some love for Zach, to make sure his eyes on the road, safety. So what do you think, Zach? We have two roads here that before us. One of them is Nintendo releasing a Nintendo Direct pretty soon. I think the Nintendo Direct route will kind of ease people a little bit. We have more games to look forward to, and I hope they do that. And then the other route is them just basically admitting in the fiscal meeting, codename Switch 2, the codename whatever, and then using the rest of the year to just really hype up the Switch 2, show games, release announcement, a whole bunch of stuff. Which route do you think Nintendo could take? Which one makes the most sense to you?
See, that's so hard because I could see both of them being true in different circumstances. So, I'm thinking about my transition between my Xbox 360 and my Xbox One. And so when the Xbox One came out, I was really, really, really big into Destiny and playing Destiny all the time with my clan, the daddies, and we were just having a blast. And then this new system comes out and they have this thing going on for the PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, Xbox 360 to Xbox One, which is you're going to get your copy of the game on there too, and it'll be cross-compatible and whatnot, and you have cross-play. And that was cool, and you're going to get new updates. But that was only a thing for 2 updates. And so at that point, after 2 updates, enough time had passed where they were like, okay, like we can't keep updating these older systems. Like it's too powerful of a game. And so the reason I bring that up is because there is a bigger gap in between the Xbox One, the previous gen, and the Series X and the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 than there was in between the previous generation.
Yeah.
And so the Nintendo Switch 2, we're going to assume, is a hybrid console, just like the Switch. And so if that's the case, that's harder to beef that up, And so if there's a really, really, really big jump between the Switch and the Switch 2, then I could see them waiting and going longer and not really announcing this at the Direct. Because if they announce it way too early and then people see like, whoa, this is such a big difference, like there's no way I'm gonna get this now when this really, 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 really big jump's gonna come out. So why would I keep buying a Switch? Where if it's not the biggest jump, then I could see it kind of being more announced sooner, because there's less incentive to not buy a Switch 1, if that makes sense. And so I feel like however much more powerful the Switch 2 is how big the gap is going to be. So if it's like not that much more powerful, if it's basically a Switch 1, but like it's got some machine learning and upscaling and stuff, then I could see them announcing this at the Direct ASAP. But if it's like a big beefy boy with, external graphics cards in the dock, 4K gaming handheld, like all this other crazy stuff, then I could see them waiting until closer to the launch next year.
I like what you were saying, because I'm thinking, I try to be realistic. I try to be optimistic, but also realistic. And I think there is no way that this system isn't Nintendo's most significant leap forward in technology ever, or maybe with the exception of something like Super Nintendo Entertainment System to Nintendo 64, because of the sheer amount of time it's taken and the fact that they now know this one system strategy has worked. We have to deliver in all aspects because all of our eggs are now in one basket, so that we cannot make the basket anything other than amazing. And we found the success with this perfect recipe. And unless if our new system is going to have something different that also does it, if we're going back to just power scaling, it has to be significantly more powerful, because you have to keep up with what the other platforms are. And as much as every company says we're not directly competing with the people, yes, you are. Whenever you say that, that's because you're losing, and that's when you're not competing anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll always see ourselves in a different thing, and that's because you're losing, and that's kind of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're all car manufacturers, and all cars are competing with each other. Even if some are luxury and some are everyday, and some cost $200,000 and some are $20,000. They're all automobiles competing for someone to buy them to drive. And in this case, it's a piece of entertainment medium. And even though it's companies independently selling their own first-party software on it, you want them to buy your machine because you're going to get 30% of that profit or whatever from that third-party game on your system.
Yep.
And if you have enough third parties, they're going to buy your system for the third party, and then it's going to trickle back to buying your first-party games, which you're getting more profit from, and so on and so forth. So,
yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
I think the power level is going to be significant, and I can't wait, because Nintendo Switch games do look better than Wii U titles, but there was like a just 4-month gap between Wii U and Nintendo Switch. The RAM difference is 2 gigs of RAM and 4.
Yeah, it was. I think that you could call Nintendo Wii U to Switch one of those half upgrades, like if you would say the Nintendo an iPhone 4 and the iPhone 4S, and go ahead.
If you look at it from Nintendo 3DS, because don't forget, Nintendo Switch is a successor to Wii U and to 3DS. If you look at it as an upgrade from 3DS, it's Nintendo's biggest jump ever.
Yeah.
I mean, that is phenomenal. But it serves as 2 consoles in one, so it's both like a giant jump over 3DS and a little jump over Wii U. But
I see it as Nintendo's biggest jump ever, because they managed to merge both handheld and home console into one, giving us that hybrid system, making it one of the best selling systems, the second best selling of Nintendo so far, over the DS. DS is still winning a little bit. Well, let's see what happens the next coming year. But I agree that this system is going to be a big leap. I believe it because there are now more third-party AAA developers more interested in Nintendo system than ever at this point. I believe it because now the chips that we have nowadays, we can have a smaller chip that really consumes less power, leading to a fanless system, just like we have fanless Macs, right? The Mac, I think it's the MacBook Air with the M2 and the M2 Pro, these are all fanless, no fans. Just the M2 chip is crazy powerful. It's a very good, very good chip, where now developers are also bringing good games into Mac just because of these chips. And so we have NVIDIA, with their new chips bringing into, partner with Nintendo, creating a custom chip for the system. So all that put together, of course, with the DLSS AI upscaling, plus Nintendo's own DLSS upscaling, which is patented by them, that I'm pretty sure it's for the Switch too. Yeah, there's no doubt that this system will be a leap forward, and I think it'll benefit everyone. I think Nintendo is perfecting it. I think Nintendo's not rushing it like Steam Deck did, like all these other companies releasing mobile computers did, because they know how important it is for this system to last a long time of gameplay without it overheating. Just to remind you guys, I did have a Steam Deck. I did I installed ukulele and I started playing ukulele for 5 minutes. Then my Steam Deck was so hot that it burnt my hand. That was it for that Steam Deck, you know. And this is the kind of problem that you don't see on Nintendo Switch. You don't see Nintendo Switch overheating to a crazy, maximum. Even playing a game like Breath of the Wild, it doesn't overheat. Nintendo has kind of perfected that form factor for their next gen system, and I'm pretty sure they're doing the same exact thing. They're very picky that way because this is a home console. This is the Nintendo brand, and they need to kind of bring forward a console that literally, people can buy. The price point, Nintendo wants you to have more than one console per household. Don't be surprised if they lower the price of the Switch OLED to $299 and give us a $349 Switch 2 digital and a $399 Switch with the cartridge within, right? And so Nintendo is more interested in having more systems in house than selling you just one system, right? They want your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad to have their own system and to play with each other rather than, I think Paul went to the restroom. He went to the bathroom. He was
Well,
go ahead.
You're saying, it really does to I was thinking about this a lot since the last podcast, and it ties into your question about how long in between when they announce it versus when it comes out.
Yeah.
And so I know I mentioned just conceptually last week this idea of using your Switch 1 as a controller or wireless Switch 2.
Yeah.
Or wireless interface for your Switch 2, like it's the PlayStation Portal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the more I was thinking about it, we already have cloud gaming on the Switch for stuff that's too powerful for the Switch to handle.
Yeah.
It's rendered out somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so if Nintendo were to go that route, they've already created the infrastructure through the cloud gaming portion. And so that would be another thing that they could announce the Switch 2 a whole year from now. But if we know your Switch 1 will function as a Switch 2 mobilely, then that still leaves you an incentive to buy a Switch 1 if you don't have one yet, I guess is my point.
Yeah. I did find a patent on the channel where you can connect mobile devices, phones, to your Nintendo Switch. Use them as either separate controllers up to 20. Since you can connect up to 20 devices to one single Nintendo Switch. I'm guessing that's for party games and stuff like that. You'll be able to do that. But I don't see it's not too I don't see it too far out of the realm of possibilities that Nintendo might do that. The only reason I don't see it happening is because they want to sell as much of the next system as possible, and so they might do, they might want to make that system exclusive and then maybe sell a device for that. But then again, it is a high. There we have Paul Gale's. Is it Link?
Mario.
Wahoo!
Hi, Mario. That's a nice cat.
Thank you.
I wish I could have a cat, but my wife is terrified of cats.
Oh man.
She has a phobia that I don't know where it came from, but we're trying to see if we can pray out of her so we can get a cat.
One day.
Yeah, one day. But yeah, I mean, Nintendo Direct. All right, I'm gonna give you guys 5 seconds to predict on something. Okay, Nintendo Direct or Switch 2 when it comes to the next 6 months. Which one will we hear about first? Paul, go.
Nintendo Direct.
And then Zach.
Nintendo Direct.
All right, so Paul, Nintendo Direct, and Zach, Nintendo Direct. I'm gonna say Nintendo Direct as well, just because I do believe that. I mean, this is how I see it. I think we are gonna get a code name for the Switch in this fiscal meaning here. I think the Switch is going to be out by March. The Switch 2 will be out by March. That'll give it a little time within a year, kind of, separate it a little bit from the holiday season. That way, at the end of February, people are already just gone. They're ready for the next thing. Spring is along the way. We have the summer conventions and then happening pretty soon after that. And so releasing in March will then put it in a position where, okay, when we look ahead, we have what's next? We have April, May, Nintendo Direct, Summer Game Fest. We have all this really cool conventions and places where we can showcase games and stuff like that around that time. I think there's also in March, I think we have what is it that we have an PAX East is in March, right?
And, Mario Day.
Yeah, we have Mario Day around that time. That's a really great time to start off with that brand new Mario game as well. We also have PAX East. We have that one. Gamescom is in August, if I'm not mistaken, right? But before that, we have Summer Game Fest. We have all these presentations and everything. So
Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, so if Nintendo does release by March, then everything ahead is going to be so much exciting. So much excitement is coming for the rest of 2025, right? And then all Nintendo has to do is they show Nintendo Direct, give people what they want. People want Mario Galaxy 2, HDify it, bring it to Nintendo Switch. People want Mario Wind Waker, it's already done. Just port it to Switch. Twilight Princess, just port it to Switch. Metroid 2 and 3, port it to Switch. You already talked about Metroid Prime 4 coming to Nintendo Switch. It is a Switch game. By the way, there's an update on it. I think one of the people that one of the directors working on Metroid Prime 4 mentioned that it was done. The game was done. And so that's the latest. I have to cover it on the news tomorrow or something. But that game is very close to us, meaning we might be getting a presentation, maybe a Metroid presentation. I think like Jeff Grubb, he was the one who said at one point that he heard something last year about a Metroid presentation or a Metroid event happening. But I think as long as Nintendo... Yeah, go ahead.
No, you keep going.
What were you going to say? Now I'm curious.
I was going to say that completely changes my... I think if Metroid Prime 4 is coming out for the Switch,
yeah,
there's no way that... I don't see that not announcing the Switch 2 as well with it. So even if it just says...
So you think it's like Breath of the Wild, right?
I can't see any new information about Metroid Prime 4, like if it's actually done. Like I can't see them giving us a direct and being like, "Here's the date it comes out." That's a launch title for this too, in my opinion.
I think so too. I think that title is what Breath of the Wild was for the Nintendo Switch and the Wii U, like the game that is kind of out right towards the end. To a point where Nintendo's going to release it on both systems, but yeah, that's the latest news. I'll do more research and make a video on it when it comes to Metroid Prime 4. But that's what I see for the rest of the year. If Nintendo just gives us a couple more games for the rest of the year, really good holiday bundles to go by. I mentioned in a previous video that the pattern that I followed was that whenever Nintendo released a patent regarding a Switch OLED or a Nintendo Switch base model, and that patent was specifically for that Switch model, Nintendo normally releases an edition right after that. And if you go to my channel, all you have to do is just type in the search on my channel, new Nintendo Switch. And then when you type new Nintendo Switch, when you type new Nintendo Switch, you're going to see the patent discovery, right? I'm going to tell where I tell you, look, hey, Nintendo just issued a patent. I think they are about to release a Mario Edition Switch. Guess what happens? A couple weeks later, Mario Edition Switch was announced. Same thing with the Splatoon. Same thing with the Pokemon One. On the channel, the patents for the Switch, they just look like regular Switch patents. But Nintendo kind of updates the patent, and then they release an edition after that. I just recently found another one. I don't know what edition is going to be. I'm just guessing could be a Metroid edition, since I think that's one of the Nintendo IPs that has been a little neglected when it comes to hardware wise in the Switch era. There has, we've had many Pokemon editions. Right? We had the Light edition, we had the Palkia and the Blurp edition, and we've had the Scarlet and is it Scarlet and Violet? Or the was it right? It was Scarlet and Violet edition. We Mario editions. What we got 3 Mario editions.
Sword and
Animal
Shield.
Crossing.
Animal Crossing edition. Yeah, Sword and Shield. So out of Nintendo's IPs, Metroid is the only one who hasn't really gotten that love and affection for an edition. I know that the Switch OLED, when it came out with Metroid Dread. People thought that the white Joy-Cons were Metroid Dread, but then it was completely shut down. Nope, it's not. So I just see the OLED Metroid edition, and I think Nintendo's gonna give us like a nice Joy-Cons and maybe like a little engraved background with Metroid on it, and then that'll be the celebration for Metroid Prime 4 with that. I'm just saying. Yeah, go ahead.
No. You're getting me pumped up for my idea, but like, you go for it. Continue.
Go what? You can't say idea and not talk about.
Okay, before I do my idea, Rainbow Love dropped another $2 super chat, so thank you.
Let me go ahead.
And the question was, what do you think is the new gimmick with Switch 2? But maybe before we get to that, I'll share just my little idea.
Okay.
We did have that rumor of 2 things in April, a Nintendo Direct, but preceded by an IndieWorld. And we still have one Wednesday left. So what if April 24th, next Wednesday, we get that Nintendo Direct, but it is a Metroid Nintendo Direct?
Whoa,
I would be so happy that, depending on what it was, fans of the Metroid franchise, building up the hype, Metroid Prime 2, remastered, Metroid Prime 3, remastered, or remake or HD versions or whatever it is coming out, and use that as the day to show off Mike's, Nintendo Switch OLED model, Metroid Prime Edition, and then Metroid Prime 4 release date, and that's the November title. But then this would also mean, well, that's not a simultaneous, Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 game, which I think it is going to be, or possibly should be, because you could capitalize on that 150 million install base of Nintendo Switch, but be the graphical showcase for Nintendo Switch 2, and it would be that really good transition game that both sides of the spectrum are satisfied with it. You don't feel left out because you don't have the new system, and you don't feel left out if, etc. But if that's like Nintendo's big game for this November, and then Nintendo Switch 2 isn't ready for it, but the game does have its own version on NS2 coming out a few months later, whatever. If you just give me Metroid Prime 4 this year, or just a Nintendo Direct, and it's just a little Metroid Nintendo Direct, next freaking week, I would blow up. It would be the coolest thing ever, because that's probably my most anticipated game that I know exists that we haven't seen a thing on, and I would be through the roof happy if that was, next week. I'm on top of next week just because there's a little piece of me that has to be overly optimistic just because of the whole, we're getting 2 things in April from this report, that report, hearing Metroid is almost done here, hearing this. I heard one independent thing saying what this individual saw from Texas, which you could infer is Retro Studios and Metroid Prime 4 in some capacity, was remarkable and will be worth the wait.
Wow.
I'm paraphrasing a thing that I heard from a couple of months ago, but it was something along those lines. So I have faith that we're in for something special with this game, and I just can't stop smiling over it.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think this is gonna be. I think Metroid Prime 4. I'm looking forward to Metroid Prime 4 more than any other game. I think because, I wasn't a Metroid fan until I played Metroid Prime Remaster.
Mike,
that game,
I'll be right back. I am just going inside my house and jumping on my computer to continue this conversation.
That's good. Don't get yourself locked out. Don't get the cops looking for you and stuff.
Okay, cool. Oh, also though, before I to answer the super chat question though, I want to answer on your behalf for what the new gimmick is.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's a swivel. It's the swivel, the Nintendo swivel. That is Mike's answer to the gimmick. All right, I'll see you guys in a second.
All right. All right, so yeah, I think it's gonna be if we get a Metro presentation, it's gonna be awesome. You can bet your bottom dollar we're gonna get the Metro Prime 2 and 3, drop there, and then that Metro presentation with maybe like a demo of the actual game and explanation. If it's a Metro Direct, they can't just give us a little bit of a hint of a game in a Metroid themed Direct, right? And that hopefully that OLED presentation. When it comes to answering the super chat, did you answer the super chat? Go ahead, Paul.
I didn't, but one thing isn't just a gimmick. It's I don't want to take too long into this because I've had my long deal on this one before, but that is just in the box, include a $6 piece of plastic head strap, simple, VR capable goggles, kind of like they have for smartphones, kind of like they did for Labo, and just include that little accessory in every Nintendo Switch 2 box. That way, every single Nintendo Switch 2 is VR capable, just to help developers have the knowing that, hey, if we make a game in VR, this entire audience has that accessibility to it without needing to buy anything else from the get-go. Yeah. And then maybe you will see VR be evolving a little bit better. So that's just kind of my gimmick or something that I think should just be included to help propel that type of development in gaming. Beyond that, I would love it if it's just controller-wise, forced feedback controller that could be turned on or off, particularly in the analog sticks. So kind of like how the PlayStation 5 does have resistant triggers that can be a little bit harder to pull down to emulate how hard it is to pull down a different trigger in a gun or something like that. With this analog stick, as you're Mario trudging through honey in, a new level in a new 3D Mario game, it takes more effort to push that analog stick forward because he's in that honey that's difficult to walk through. Or as you pull back that analog stick down, it is Link pulling back that bow and arrow a little bit harder. And, for folks that have a difficult time with their fine-tuned finger management, turn that off. Doesn't have to have these resistance capabilities. But for power sliding in the next Mario Kart game, as you're driving forward, and then as you're feeling that resistance in the analog stick pushing back and forth, that's the gimmick or the evolution in the controller that I would like to see on the hardware side.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers. That's kind of my two things.
Yeah,
I like
to see.
Awesome.
Awesome. Guys, I put a poll in the chat, so whenever you have, take some time out to answer that poll real quick. It has to do with the podcast. In the future of the podcast, there's a feature that I'm planning on adding, which is a call-in feature for Super Chats. You can actually call in and either speak to Paul or anybody on the podcast, ask you a question live, and become part of the podcast in the meantime, right? So you'll have either you can Super Chat your call, your question, or you can call in as well. So that is the poll is up. I will read the response or the answer at the end of this podcast. Well, let me go ahead and answer this question real quick. For the gimmick, right? I made a list. I made a list of, I think I have 7 to 8 things that are features that I have discovered in patents. So everything that I mentioned is something Nintendo has thought about or is thinking about or could make it to the final product, just as it will probably not make it to the final product, but at least I think that this gives us an idea of what Nintendo is thinking about when it comes to a gimmick. And I want to read it ahead of time. I made this list for a video, but I want to let you guys know ahead of time because this is a really great question, a really, really great question. And let me go ahead and get that list here. Okay, so for the gimmick, I went ahead and the first gimmick I found was in a patent was the ability to allow up to 4 players to share a game. Okay, so as long as that those players are part of your Nintendo account and up to 4 players, you can actually share a game, a digital game with them, so they can actually play the game, download it, and play the game as well. That was in one patent. The other patent had to do with the joysticks. So haptic feedback on the actual joystick. Think about PS5, the triggers and how responsive they are. Think about that with the joystick. So if you're moving through sand, the joystick will kind of get rough and kind of a little hard to kind of move forward because you're moving through sand, so it feels that pressure. If you're swimming, also you'll feel like the joystick is actually moving in a little differently. It'll make you feel a little bit different, so like you're in water and so on. So that's one of the patents I found. Haptic feedback for the joystick could be part of the gimmick. The other one is Nintendo controllers, the Joy-Cons or either the port controllers. I'm having memory within them, like to store games, game saves, and game data. So if you were to save a Pokemon, play with your friends on their Pokemon game, you can bring your own Pokemon in your controller, fight against your partner on their Switch with your own Pokemon. Or even if you have a let's say the next ultimate the Smash Bros game, you can actually train your own fighter, right, and bring him up to a level, either buying extra abilities or gaining extra abilities. Just kind of built out your own fighter, right, instead of having a generic fighter that comes with its own abilities. Let's say Nintendo allows you to pick a fighter or fighter and then train them up to your level. You can take that fighter with you and then go and fight with them somewhere else, a competition, a tournament, a friend's house, and maybe you can save that fighter also in that controller. So that is what the patent was describing, kind of saving data and characters and players on that controller. The next one was video game streaming. Well, not video game streaming, video streaming service. So in the patent, Nintendo describes the Switch like its own entertainment hub, right? And it had video streaming. I'm guessing because Nintendo's now gearing into movies. I'm guessing there will also be TV shows and a lot more when it comes to video for Nintendo. So it's a Nintendo video streaming service that was described in the patent. And yeah, I welcome that. The other one was using your mobile phone as an extra controller. The patent showed the device, the Switch controllers, and a whole bunch of other cell phones kind of used as controllers. You can add up to 20 controllers. Now, this could be added now. That this feature is available now as well through party games, but this could actually end up being something that Nintendo can do for the future. Then the other one is the dual screen. By the way, an update on the dual screen that ended up being in the family of patents found for the Nintendo 3DS. So that's not even a Switch anymore. That's the patent. That's the 3DS. That was within the ideas that never made it to the light day. So dual screen discarded. Let's see here. Nintendo's own AI upscaling. So Nintendo AI, I don't know. It could be the patent. But that's another patent that I found that could be part of the upscaling. The other patent I found was also the dock being its own media hub. So let's say Apple TV, let's say Google thingy, whatever media device you use, whether you use Apple TV or use something like that, the dock itself, by itself, is a media hub already without the Nintendo Switch. So technically, you can stream your games to the hub, to the dock, which is also a hub, and you can play games there and also use the pad on the screen here. So like a Wii U kind of thing. That's me talking over the pad. The pad doesn't describe that. It just describes the dock as a hub. I'm guessing you can install Apple TV. You can install other media like streaming services to the hub, and it has its own little chip, own little interface, UI, and everything. For example, look at the Wii U interface or the Nintendo Wii interface. When you insert a CD, you see that the CD pops up in that little corner there. You know, you insert a CD and then the game pops up. When you kind of dock the Switch, then I'm guessing that little area of the Switch game kind of populates as well. So that's what I'm guessing it might look like. But the actual dock as a media hub. So maybe the Nintendo Switch Media. I don't know. It could be something in that. What do you think, Paul?
You know, I would really like this one change because you get to do so much more potential with the dock, and that is if the dock doesn't have a piece of plastic in front of it, and that you just put the Nintendo Switch 2 in this dock. But to be safe, it's a little bit slanted backwards, or it has some kind of clip at the bottom so that the Nintendo Switch won't fall flat on its face,
Yeah.
But a little bit down and backwards, or just kind of clipped in place so that you could see the screen while it's docked at all times.
Yeah.
Because then you have the opportunity for it in standby mode to have a nice little Nintendo background kind of theme, a nice little entertainment screensaver. It could be as simple as a Nintendo themed clock with Mario characters digitally going in seconds around the clock and having a little "here we go" at every hour mark, or whatever you want, like a cuckoo clock.
Yeah.
Or if you want it to be ad focused because you don't mind ads because it's video game ads, it could run little ads throughout the day of different Nintendo video games or upcoming things. Or you could maybe have some kind of very light interaction with the dock while it's in standby mode, not to necessarily play games, because after all, it's supposed to be docked in order to play games on the TV. But in that docked mode, you could scroll through wirelessly, via Bluetooth with your Joy-Con version 2.0 or whatever on the side. Like, let me scroll through, what game do I want to play? Or what's in the eShop, things that don't require the full TV, to turn on to access. So like little things like that, or let me fire up Netflix and just have it get ready. But like things that could be used in a low power mode, but this only could be achieved if the dock doesn't have this piece of plastic in front of it, and that you could see the Nintendo Switch 2 screen at all times while the system is docked. I think that would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
And then it adds some visual flair for your entertainment center. And if you don't want this thing on, it could just be black. It could just be a screen, and that's it. And if you think it's distracting when you're playing the game, you can have it off too. But just by having that option on, maybe now think about this. This is how you could achieve, in some capacity, dual screen, where while it's playing on TV, you do have the whole game. And just on the Nintendo Switch screen itself, while in docked mode, now that the new dock has been revised so that you could see the screen and not have a piece of plastic in front of it, there's your little map. There's your little inventory.
Yeah.
Now it might be too far away for some people's, entertainment centers from their couch and stuff like that, but you don't have to. But it could just be a little thing, or a cute little inventory thing that, like, as you're dragging it, as you go into your pause menu and Zelda, and you're pulling out your potions and stuff like that, you can just scroll down from your TV, bloop, 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 and it'll go off your dock, bloop, 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 and then like back into the TV. Like, that's dope.
I like it. Yeah.
Really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And if the system's powerful enough, it could do it. The Wii U did it.
Yeah.
But the Wii U was a very different system. So I'm not saying go backwards and do that, but like it would be a way how you could introduce it, incorporate it, and it wouldn't hurt anything. Developers wouldn't have to feel forced to, but you certainly could have a little bit of just a bonus. Keep it black or throw a little something on there. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I agree. Charles says that Zach looks different. We without the police lights behind him. Hey, so Zach, you want to finish answering the question now?
Yes. So what was the question one more time?
It was about what gimmick do you see coming to Switch 2?
Honestly, I'm going to go with the one that I said the Portal.
Okay.
One, where you can use your Switch 1 or any other mobile device if you want to tie it in with your patent.
Yeah.
As a separate screen. Or a separate screen.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think that's very possible. You never know. Nintendo has a lot in store. All I know is that it's going to be exciting when Nintendo does announce or release, shows up the new system, whatever gimmick it is. I think Nintendo has. I think they're gonna bank on what they've done. Add a little more fun to it, make it a little more powerful, and just continue the fun times with Nintendo. And that's what I love about the company. They're looking for different ways for us to enjoy their system. Miyamoto himself says that one of the reasons why he doesn't really focus too much on backwards compatibility is because he's always looking for that next new way to how to play the game, that new feature that makes that next Mario game just much more special. And so, I do believe the system is backwards compatible. Hopefully, knock on wood. Hopefully, it's backwards compatible, and we get, and we get to bring our libraries with us. Just because it's the best-selling console of all time, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have their biggest libraries ever. I've seen people with hundreds of Switch games like on the back of their shelves and everything, just like a whole bunch of games there. Imagine if all those games were backwards compatible with the Nintendo Switch, then that collection could stay there, and they could continue to add to it. And I think that will be the best gift Nintendo could give their fans: backwards compatibility out of any other feature, right? So they can call the Switch backwards, the Switch forward.
But speaking of hundreds of games, call it a gimmick or just a regular quality of life improvement. But actually, I would love folders and organizable home screen.
Yeah. There's some. I can't in all.
Let me at least give me 5 pins. Right,
Yeah.
Pin these so they stay on the front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I right now, in all seriousness, I can't call what we have now folders. Just it's just there. It wants to be, but it's not right. It's not there just yet.
It's like if you asked an alien to summarize what a folder was.
Yeah. All right, so we are in the last 5 minutes of the Nintopics podcast, and we'll take this last 5 minutes and go ahead and open up the floor for Q&A. If you have any questions for Paul, the great Paul Gill Network, for Zach, the Mac, I gotta think about it. That's a weird one. Or myself, then you can go ahead and super chat. No, not super chat. Just write your question at Mike Odyssey, and I will go ahead and answer your question. So you don't have to super chat the question at this point. Right now, you can just ask a question at Mike Odyssey. That way, it could pop up on chat, and then you can say, okay, this question for Paul, question for all, or question for Zach, and then we'll answer that question. So 3, 2, 1, the floor is open. Ask away. I wish I had like a little next time I'll have the ding 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 ding, like that Jeopardy kind of music. For now, I think I have some music here in the background that I can actually play, and then
one of the coolest things on the Nintendo 3DS was, as the generation went on, being able to buy themes, and it was like $2, but
yeah,
you had beautiful music. Like Metroid. Oh,
can you imagine if when you buy a game, you can actually, like, when you purchase a game, it also comes with the theme?
That's cool.
When you
use your silver coins or your platinum coins, and
yeah,
that was a really fun thing about Smash. Was that in Smash Ultimate, like, you can just go and play. I think all the way back to Brawl, maybe, but it was basically like also a CD. Like, you could just go and, without playing the game, you could go into the game and just click play on the music, and it would just play all the music.
All right, do you guys see any questions in the chat?
Tall Show is asking you, what demos of the latest IndieWorld have y'all played? Well, I guess asking us.
Yeah, I can start with that. I played so far. I played Europa, the Europa demo, which is available now. You can go ahead and download it. It's amazing. It's really awesome. It's basically, in a nutshell, is the journey of a child or a teen or whatever, in a new world that is not Earth. Just discovering the entire world for the very first time, and then there's a story within that I think you guys want to hear about. But it's an open world game. Looks beautiful, very beautiful soundtrack. and there's things to do around there. I love the little floaty part. You collect little energy. It's like little energy like spheres around the area where you connect that, and that allows you to kind of float in the air and to glide. And so it feels like very Breath of the Wildish, Tears of the Kingdom, when he's kind of on his glider. That type of sense you have, and because it's an open world, that's a really cool feeling there. So yeah, I recommend it. Paul?
Europa, as far as the demo goes, I played that, and that's good.
Yeah.
And Stitch, I actually ended up just buying.
Yeah.
And then Little Kitty Big City, I pre-ordered it. And I have one other demo, but I didn't play it. And now I'm thinking, like, hold on, what game was the other demo that I downloaded but did not try yet?
Yeah.
I'm going to, after the podcast, I'm going to have dinner with my family, and then I'm going to go back onto the Nintendo Switch and see, what was that demo left over? But it was something else that was like, I think I mentioned it earlier today, but now I just forgot in the moment. But something else looked cool.
All right, and Zach hasn't seen the showcase yet,
but I have played a demo recently.
Cool.
The full game's out, but I've only played the demo.
Okay.
Princess Peach Showtime.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. That's a good demo.
That was like hefty too. Like you got to play a good amount of game. Like it wasn't just like half a level, which I appreciated.
All right. So for everyone, what do each of you think the chances of a new Switch coming out this year? So is it a new Switch or a new Switch 2 or the new system? Because if it's a new Switch, I'm gonna go as far as 70%. I'm gonna go with that OLED model. I'll say Metroid Edition for the Switch. Switch 2 coming out this year, 30%. 30% for Switch 2. An edition Switch, I'll go you know what? I'll bump it up to 80%.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'll say, honestly, the more time that passes, the smaller it's getting. My optimism has gone down decently. I was like, we're 100% getting it this year.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe 60.
Okay, for the Switch 2 or for the edition?
A new edition, not a new Switch. I'm like, like 90%. Your patent video where you talk about Metroid.
So you're on board 90% with an edition and then like 30% with the Switch 2?
Yeah.
Okay. How about Paul?
Yeah. Oh boy, I almost want to say 100% on a new skinned system. To be clear, not like a Nintendo Switch Micro or something like that, or Nintendo Switch Mini, but I guess call it 90% on some kind of not new model, but new embossed logo of something like that. So call it an edition, a Metroid edition or something like that. 90% on that, and I'll go. So I'll still give it a. Let's see, what is the math breakdown? I think the earliest we could get the system is in 11 months. I'll go with a 22% chance that Nintendo Switch 2 comes out this year.
Okay, yeah. 22%. That's good.
22% chance.
Good.
This had to be a little bit different. I had to do a little bit of factoring in there.
Yeah. That's good. Let's see here. Let's see any other questions. Make sure to we have about 3 more minutes. Make sure to at Mike Odyssey if you have a question, and I'll go ahead and highlight it here. Have y'all played the critically acclaimed Choo Choo Charles? Available now on Nintendo Switch family of systems. TM Chubs. Let me see here. Is it available now, Choo Choo Charles?
I haven't. I remember watching that when it was first shown. It was pretty funny looking.
Yeah, creepy little train falling forward. Like, I'm not gonna play it because I probably won't sleep. After that, kind of dreaming about. I dream about everything.
Yeah.
And the worst about it is that I'm a lucid dreamer. Okay. I'm a lucid dreamer. I know when everything is a dream. From the moment it starts to the moment it ends, I've did it myself. I normally end up flying because it's the funnest thing to do. I just find whenever it starts being bad, I just go fly away. But if you know what lucid dreaming is knowing that you're dreaming. You always know you're dreaming. You're never caught off guard. And so I'm cursed that way. I can't enjoy a dream. and have it at least a good to be real. But
see, I am jealous. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, I'm saying if I lucid dream about Choo Choo Charles, I'm like, he's not gonna appear. Just because I know it's fake, he's gonna appear everywhere on purpose. I'm like,
see, I'm jealous of you. I've had lucid dreams.
Yeah.
But I am not a lucid dreamer. Like,
yeah.
It's probably happened like 10 times in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as it does, like, I know there's like a ticking clock. It's like 3 minutes before you wake up type. As soon as I know I'm in a dream, I'm going to wake up soon.
Yeah.
And so I try my best to be like, boom, laser hands, blow up a tank, fly to the moon. Like, I know it's like limited time to experience superpowers. Mm-hmm.
I've done it. I'm trying to fly to the moon, but I can never get there for some reason. It's maybe because I don't know how far it is, and I don't know how it looks. Like, my brain doesn't have the graphic capacity to generate the moon.
It can't render.
I can't render the moon.
You got to get a new graphics card.
Yeah. What do you think, Paul? You haven't played Choo Choo Charles?
I haven't played Choo Choo Charles. I remember it looked fun and funny and kind of interesting and weird, but I liked it. If there's a demo, I'll probably give the demo a try because I was curious enough that I'll give it a shot. I should play it.
Do you think we will get Zelda ports this year? Take it away, Zach. What do you think?
I want all the things Zelda, so I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
I really, really, really would like, honestly, like, I understand ports are work.
Yeah.
But if you're Nintendo and you know you have Wind Waker, it's like, oh,
yeah,
we have a port that we literally can do with zero effort. So I really hope so. I think we will.
It'll be so awesome if Wind Waker comes out before my stream starts. That way I can just play it on Switch.
That would be so sick.
What do you think, Paul?
I used to be, and I still kind of am, but I used to be on the thought of, you know what, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are safe bets of games that you could drop in on Nintendo Switch during a little bit of a slowdown period. Kind of like what we're in now. Actually, not really. I take that back. We're not really in a slowdown period. I mean, we've got like Another Code Recollection, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Endless Ocean Luminous, Princess Peach Showtime, and Luigi's Mansion HD 2, and Paper Mario 1000 Years Old. That's 6 games in 6 months, folks. That's not a slowdown. That's fantastic.
That's Nintendo. That's regular Nintendo.
That's the next 6 months are perceived to be slow because we don't know, right?
Yeah.
But I always thought like Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, they're done. There are Wii U games that looked good, more so perhaps Wind Waker than Twilight Princess with the amount of effort that was put into it. But now we're so late into Nintendo Switch that I'm like, maybe, as we said on the podcast, a few weeks prior, the gap has been longer between Wind Waker on Wii U to now than it was on GameCube to Wii U. So they could just hold on to it and make it that much more significant of an upgrade by using that same strategy that I just said. Use it for a lull period, but not in Nintendo Switch, but in Nintendo Switch 2. So Wind Waker, nope, we're not getting for another 3.5 years, and that's going to be sometime in Nintendo Switch 2's third year. Yeah, right there, put in the Wind Waker 4K or a Twilight Princess 4K, and it's a bigger upgrade than it would have been right now because it's even further time. So, like, I'm kind of tossed between that, but I do think something Zelda's coming this year, regardless. If it's not Wind Waker and Twilight, I'm going to say we're going to get some kind of Zelda port or some type of something Zelda related this year.
And I switched to the next question, and as I switched, you were just answering it. Do you think a Zelda game is coming out this year? And you just answered it just now. So
yeah.
And I see that Zach is enjoying the music.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I was like, "Dang, Mike, this is a vibe."
This is a new platform. Hopefully, we'll get a little more to it. I'm enjoying the music too. It creates a better environment. So, what do you think, Zach? Another. We talked about. What was the last question?
A brand new Zelda game this year?
Do we get a Zelda game here? Any Zelda game?
Or Zelda game?
Yeah, well, like I said, I already think we're getting a port at the very least.
Okay.
So yes, I think Zelda is what Fire Emblem is to Nintendo Japan. I think Nintendo has realized that Zelda can be that to Nintendo. Period.
Yeah, I mean, we would have gotten a Zelda game every. Well, actually, we did get a Zelda game almost every year. Tears of the Kingdom. But prior to that, we got. I can't remember the prior to that one. I don't think we got a Zelda game in 2022, right?
No, but the pandemic did kind of mess with everything's release schedule for a couple years. So
yeah,
21, 22 are kind of weird years for everybody.
I also think we're gonna get a new Zelda game. I hope it's not the Ocarina of Time remake. I want that for Switch 2 because that's a big game. And if you're gonna bring up a big game like that and give it a remake, it's one of the I think fan favorite games out there. And I think they should give it the Final Fantasy remake treatment where you're bringing it back better, bigger than ever, but bring it on Switch 2 and make that game a Switch 2 exclusive that will drive people who wanted to replay that game when maybe that the newer whatever brings on Switch 2. But I hope we do get a port this year. I also hope we get a remake, but like a smaller remake, like Oracle Seasons, Oracle Ages, or Link to the Past, those type of games in the Link's Awakening kind of looking theme, little chibi character that I love so much. I hope that comes up to pass, even if it's one of those a remake like that, but doesn't have to look like Link's Awakening. Maybe a new art style, but a top-down Zelda, just like that one, will be cool. So yeah, I do think there's a Zelda coming this year. I do think so, and we'll just have to wait and see if Nintendo listens to. I think Nintendo watches this podcast. Hi Nintendo, if you're watching, hi,
Dad.
Let me highlight a comment here from our co-host Joyce J. Because I'm still Team 2024 reveal and Team 2024 launch. Me too. For Switch 2, GameCube, 64 Entertainment System, and that's the Nintendo. That's the new name. Switch Pro 2, Cube 64 Entertainment System. .NES. So that's the new name. Yoshi just created a leak here.
That's a mouthful.
Right. It is. Let's see here. All right. I think we have another one here, and I think we'll end with this one. All right. What do y'all think about the Grounded Switch port? The opening cutscene was rough, but the gameplay is good. Last time I played it, it was when it was in Xbox Early Access. What do you guys think? I haven't played it yet. Haven't seen it. But what do you have any of you downloaded and played it?
I haven't, but I'm glad that it exists on Nintendo Switch. I think it's a good fit, and glad that it's been brought over. Hopefully, it runs well. And
yeah, I have Game Pass, so I just don't know whether I should get it on Switch when I can play it on. I feel it will give me an opportunity to turn on my PlayStation, my Xbox Series X, which is not being turned on very often, which is not good. So at least for that, and I'm trying to turn it on because I bought WWE, the latest WWE game. I bought it on Xbox Series X, and then I have Spider-Man to play on PlayStation. So I have Spider-Man, and I have Horizon games on PS5. So I got my games on each system that I want to play. I know I could play the NBA or WWE on other systems, but I want to give some Xbox love and turn it on. But yeah, Grounded, not yet. Have not played it. And hopefully I'll try it soon. And last question we have here by Tyler's Gaming Hub. To be honest, I feel like if they save Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, they should give us Wind Waker and Twilight. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if they do, hey, you think if they actually make an Ocarina of Time remake, they would follow up with Majora's Mask, or would they just make it one big game, or they will make Majora's Mask DLC? or what do you think? That's a good question. Let me just throw it out to you guys as the last question for the podcast.
I think Majora's Mask is big enough that it warrants 2 different games, and especially with how ambitious they could be, they could be more ambitious and make it even bigger, like in scope. So I would think if you do Ocarina of Time, then you could go into a Majora's Mask one also.
I don't want to see that moon in 4K.
Yeah, there goes your lucid dreams.
That's horrible. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I could see Majora's Mask because it's mostly in another world, so that way it doesn't really affect, there's no fans having their 10 million arguments about where it is on the timeline and what this affects and who this implicates. It's all in low rule.
People say that Link just died and he went to hell. and Majora's Mask is all this takes place underground, like I'm like,
no, that Link becomes an adult and then becomes a Stalfos.
There you go.
He becomes a skeleton later. You have to you do a quest for him in another Zelda game.
Yeah, in Twilight Princess.
That's the one, right? Where you have the Link Stalfos. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is the most tragic character of all time. We'll talk about that later, though.
Anyway, I think that has been an amazing conversation we've had today in the podcast. I want to thank Paul Gale Network and Zach the Hendrix, Zach the Hendrix for being here. I also want to a huge shout out to Joycey J in the chat. She is recovering from surgery. She should be back with us next week. And of course, our other newest podcast host, Lily Hyrule, as well. She had something last minute come up. She will also be with us next week. So we should have a full cast by next week. And that's it for the podcast. Paul Gale Network, what do you have going on this week and where can we find you?
I am Paul Gale Network on Twitter/X and on YouTube. On YouTube, I recently put up my live reaction and discussion video on the Nintendo IndieWorld Showcase, which now is a little bit old news, but if you wanted to, for whatever reason, watch along with me and see what I thought live, then that's that. And over on X, the recent thing that I put up was some new stats coming out of Japan. Famitsu sales, yet again, for another week in a row, Nintendo Switch sold more units in the last week in Japan than it did last year in that respective week. And it's done that a few weeks in a row now, which is kind of wild. And it makes you wonder, if it's selling 76,000 units a week in a place where so many think, dude, everyone already has a system, right? Nope. Then why are you rushing for a new system if it's still selling that well? So anyways, Twitter and X, YouTube, I'm at Paul Gale Network.
Awesome. And going over to Zach, the voice, Hendrick. Found it.
What up, everybody? You can find me on Twix, aka Twitter/X, at YoungCalfZach, and pretty much everywhere else at Zach Hendrix Media, including here on YouTube. You can also scan the QR code thing, and that'll have all my stuff. But I am actually live on YouTube right now because I do the post-podcast party, aka I play Smash with you guys. So when this video wraps up, that is exactly where you will be able to find me, is over on Zach Hendrix Media at YouTube, running some Smash. And you guys are more than welcome to join.
All right. Thank you, Zach. And of course, you can find me here at the Odyssey Monday through Friday. And of course, here on Fridays for on Nintopics podcast here live. Let me go ahead and go over the poll really quick here before we end the podcast. I put a poll up in the thingy on whether in the podcast, next podcast, should we take live call-ins? That way, you guys can call in and become part of the conversation. And you guys, guess what? You guys will be recorded within the podcast as one of us, and also when the podcast goes out to the major podcast areas, then you also be part of that podcast there too. So right now, look at the it says, would you like to be part of the podcast? Call in 50-50.
And there are 30 people that voted. So 15 people in the chat are like, yeah, I want to be on. And 15 are like, nah, I don't want to be on.
Exactly. And we have 41 viewers on YouTube. Anybody want to break the tie? Either with or not. Right now, if it says 50-50, what I'll do is I say, you know what? It's a close call. So I'll leave it up. I'll leave it up to you guys. You know what? Let's just leave it 50-50. That is just hilarious. You guys are trolling me, and I understand because I see you guys laughing in the chat. Well, that's cool. I love you all anyway. You guys are amazing. All right, so that's the podcast, my friend.
There we go.
Did it break? Did it break?
32.
32?
2 more voted yes.
Okay, so we have a yes then. Okay.
17 people calling in. Let's go.
All right, we got 17 people calling in. I mean, you don't all have to call in. Would you like to see your friends call in? Or anybody else?
All at once. It's a big group chat.
Right. All right, look, right now we have 90 watchers right now between Facebook, Twix, YouTube, and what's the other one?
Oh wait, no, you said that.
MySpace.
No,
Twitch.
Twitch. I said Twitch.
No, you said Twix.
I did.
Because you're talking about Twitter and right?
All right, yeah, Twix.
Yeah, the Twitch paradox.
So thank you, everyone, from wherever you're watching from. You are awesome. Before we let you go, we got 2 things we let you know. What 2 things? 2 things, okay? Count them. 1, 2, 1.
Balloon.
Never give up. And number 2, Paul and Zach at the same time.
Journey on.
Journey on, guys. Let me cut that music off because I got my own music that I want to end with, and it's this one. All right, that has been the podcast. You guys are amazing. We will see you next Friday here at the same time, same hour. Peace. Bye.
Bye.
Nintopic Podcast, all things Nintendo.